Hi, I'm Bruce Plante. I'm proud to be the editorial cartoonist for the Tulsa World. Basically, my job is to make fun of politicians. And we all know that there's not much to make fun of there. Let's look back at the last year of cartoons. We've got world cartoons, we got state cartoons, and we got Tulsa cartoons. Oklahoma elected a woman as governor for the first time. Oklahoma is okay. Or is it progressive? Better not say progressive around here. A law was passed by the state to try to subvert the 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution, making a person born in the United States not necessarily a U.S. citizen. Good luck with that in the courts. If you know what's good for you, never ever call an Oklahoma Republican a moderate. Them's fighting words. Sure, every school kid in Oklahoma would love a pony, but this pony is really hard for a kid to care for. The Oklahoma legislature, in its infinite wisdom, wanted to cut funding to Oklahoma Planned Parenthood to stop them from performing abortions. Trouble is, Oklahoma Planned Parenthood provides food and services to the poor. They don't perform abortions. You might have noticed that I like to develop a symbolic, reoccurring characters in my cartoons. Well, since the heyday of the great cartoonist Thomas Nast, cartoonists have used symbols as a shorthand device to represent a group of people. Elephants are symbolic of the Republican Party. Donkeys, jackasses, are Democrats. Paunchy, white-haired, cowboy boot-wearing stereotypical politicians dressed in a gaudy colored leisure suits are Oklahoma legislators. Well, let's see if this catches on. Oklahoma U.S. Congressman Dan Boren wouldn't say it. I will. Being a part of these goofballs is embarrassing. You may be wondering why I draw the tiny cowboy hat held on with a stringer under his nose. Well, you've heard the phrase, all hat and no cattle. Well, I believe our legislators don't have much of a hat neither. I know you'll be shocked to know that many Oklahoma leaders love to rail about the handouts they have to give to the lollygagging unemployed. That's coming from the very folks responsible for handing out all the farm subsidies. Sorry, hypocrites really me off. And by the way, who are the heck are the Jodes? They were a fictional Oklahoma family from the John Steinbeck's novel, The Grapes of Wrath. The Jodes were forced out of their home by a severe drought and moved to California to find work. They were only unemployed because they couldn't find any work. Well, what more can I say about this one? I don't think it needs any explaining. There are very few Democrats that hold state office in Oklahoma. So if you ever wondered why most of my state cartoons aren't slamming Democrats, well, there aren't any. I think everyone remembers this subject. Gol darn pesky BCS, or is it BS? If you recall, we started off 2011 with another lunatic gunman, Jared L. Loughner, murdered 6 people at a political event in Tucson, Arizona. Arizona U.S. Representative Gabrielle Giffords was one of the 14 people wounded. If you'll notice, I drew the eyes to represent, let's say, a map symbol or crosshairs. You decide. After we taxpayers bailed out gargantuan banks, they began threatening to raise fees. All the while, banks were sitting on trillions of dollars. Oh, and by the way, that's Mr. Potter of It's a Wonderful Life behind the table. The Arab Spring sprung. Were Americans elated about freedom breaking out? Could be. Our wonderful United States Congress continued their sober, civilized debate about health care. Obama's administration became more and more disappointing. I thought his re-election campaign needed a little tweaking. Some Tea Party ideas were very popular. Some were not. U.S. Congressman Anthony Weiner got caught tweeting his pictures of his, it's the first time I've actually ever drawn a twit. Lucy, you've got no explaining to do. Steve Jobs retires shortly before passing away. I've been a Mac guy since 1988. I'm missing him already. Republicans rightly began criticizing Attorney General Eric Holder for the Fast and Furious drug gun debacle. I do hope you're familiar with my references to You'll Shoot Your Eye Out and Red Ryder BB guns. You better be anyway. Lucy, you got no explaining to do. Governor of Texas, presidential candidate, and complete moron Rick Perry blew off a mental gaffe during the debates by saying, "Oops. What if he actually won the presidency?" Nah, I don't even want to think about that. Rick Perry as president could prove the Mayans were right about 2012. The U.S. Congress comes up with another brilliant idea. The Super Committee. All they did was create themselves a fall guy. Which leads me nicely to the next cartoon. The Occupy Wall Street movement's message was about as clear as the Red River. Editorial cartoonists got an early Christmas present. Newt Gingrich began to speak more and more and more